So you're dealing with seller objections on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, but you just don't know how to solve them. So in this video, what I'm going to go over is the top 5 most common seller objections and how to handle them, and then the psychology behind the words that we say. So without further ado, let's jump on into it right now. Objection number 1. Let us think on it and we'll get back to you. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I totally understand wanting to think on it. I would probably do the same thing in your exact situation. But I guess when past owners have told me that, it's normally because one of 2 things. Can I share those with you right now? Well, thing number 1 is that the owner just isn't comfortable telling us no, it doesn't work right on the spot. Like they want to try and do it at a later time, which is totally fine. If no is the case right now, just let me know, because the last thing I want to do is bombard you with follow-up calls and annoy you down the road. So if it's no, that's totally fine. And then thing number 2 is just they are not comfortable with something that we have presented to them, whether it's the terms of the offer, the price of the offer. So I guess what's sort of going on in your situation, or what do you want to think over? And then you dive in further on this topic and you get the answer. What is it that they actually want to think about? So let's go into objection number 2. Objection number 2, let me talk with my spouse and I will get back to you. That sounds great, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. I would totally talk to my spouse about this as well. I guess what if your wife or spouse says no? Then what happens? Now there's 2 answers to this exact question. If they say no, then you can dive into further, well, what would they be saying no to? The price, the terms of the offer, what specifically, and then go down that path a little bit further. Or if the owner answers, well, they probably wouldn't say no, I just want to verify with them. Well, that sounds amazing. It sounds like we have a deal. You just want to give your wife or husband or whomever a call and just verify that we're good to go. So I guess, are they available right now that you could do that? Or are you planning on talking to them later this afternoon and get a definitive timeline from them and basically confirm that you do have an agreement in place, but they just need to verify and validate it with their husband or wife, and you have an expected timeline on getting an answer. Objection number 3, well, we're going to talk with other real estate investors and then we'll get back to you. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I totally understand wanting to talk with other real estate investors, but I guess let me ask this. What if they're at the same price than us? Then what does it come down to? And with this script, what you're specifically doing is trying to nail down what's next most important to the seller other than price. And then trying to get them in agreement with you that, okay, if we can do this, this, and this, exactly what you said on your timeline, would you still have to meet with them? Or at what price would you consider not meeting with that other investor and moving forward today? And you can use any of these phrases or scripts or word tracks to try and secure the deal on the spot. But chances are you may not be able to do that because most people might want 1, 2, 3 different people coming through. So then what I recommend doing is basically scorching the earth, as I've learned from Steve Trang's podcast, Real Estate Disruptor, shout out to them, that you want to basically blow it up for future investors to come in. How do you do this? Well, you tell the owner that they need to take notes on what you're going to tell them, the 3 things that they need to verify, validate before accepting any other offers, because they don't want to get scammed. The first thing being, the buyer needs to show you they have the cash to purchase this property. Most wholesalers cannot do this. So you need to see a bank statement, a screenshot of their current accounts, cash to close the property as of right now. Number 2, non-refundable earnest money of at least $5,000 to $10,000 that you will be putting down on the property, or that any investor needs to put down on the property. So if they back out, you get that. And then number 3 is there cannot be any sort of inspection contingency in the property, allowing other investors to walk through or them to back out. So just make sure the seller writes down all of these and be prepared to do all these things yourself if you're pitching this idea to them, and hopefully it will allow you to win out on more deals. Now, objection number 4 is not really an objection, but it's an acknowledgement. So obviously from the word track so far, you hear a very repetitive phrase that I use whenever an owner brings something up, and that is, no, I totally understand, I completely agree with you. You are in agreement with the seller at all times. You don't want to turn into a disagreement because that can blow up the sale right away. So whenever an owner brings something up, if it's a valid concern or objection, they will hang on this topic right away. But if they want you to acknowledge the fact, or it's something that they're bringing up to possibly stumble you, for example, no, we're not interested in selling that property. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Owner, I totally understand you're not interested in selling that property, but what about any other properties that you own? Would you be interested in selling those? So you acknowledge it and you move on to the next question. Or, no, I didn't have a price in mind. Oh, hey, I totally understand you didn't have a price in mind, but I guess what are other houses in your area selling for? And then you just, like I had mentioned before, acknowledge, move on, and you will have success. So that is objection number 4. And now let's get into the last and final objection. How do you actually get a price from an owner? So getting a price, well, if we paid all cash, we're able to close quickly, how much would you be willing to take? That's the common phrase used to get a price, and then the owner says, well, I'm not sure, you sent me the mailer, or you called me, or you're the professional, why don't you tell me? I have no price in mind. So instead of using that word track, this is what we are going to use, and it's worked lights out for us. It's an amazing script, so please follow this word for word, type it out, or send me an email, carter@carterppc.com, and I can get you this script verbatim. So it goes like this. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, let me please ask you this. I guess what we're looking for, and I want to be 100% transparent with you, what we're looking for on our side is a deal, just as you would be if you were in our same exact position. Now with that being said, like since we're looking for a deal, we always start on the lower side versus starting on the higher side because we want to try and get it for as low as possible. But I also understand that you have a goal you want to accomplish. We have a goal that we want to accomplish. And ultimately, we only stay in business if we're purchasing properties. So I guess with that being said, if we start with our number, it starts at $1, we go up from there, but we want to shoot for whatever goal price you had in mind and see if we can come to an agreement there. Now you are basically, you're laying it out for them that we always start low. In this specific example, we can go up from there, but they are not going to like our price. So you just need to kind of pull it out of them. And then if they're still like, well, I have no idea, then you go into, well, I guess there's no way you would consider like $10,000. And then you keep going up from there. They're like, no way, that's not going to happen, Carter. Well, I guess 20,000, 30,000? No, that's totally unrealistic. Well, it sounds like, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you have something in mind. So I guess what would that number have to be in order for you to even consider it? Because I don't want to waste your time. That's our most valuable asset. I respect yours, you respect mine. So where would you need to be at? And that's ultimately how you pull the price from the seller, and you will have immense amounts of success if you do this properly and if you put your own little twist on it. But remember, tonality is super important, eye contact is super important, and ultimately having the confidence to properly speak it into existence is really, really crucial to your success. If you have any questions, again, reach out to me. I hope you found the video informational and valuable. Hit the like and subscribe button for more content every single week. And if you want to know how we come across deals that are deeply discounted off market on a daily basis, watch my video right here on how we generate leads from Facebook ads every single day.